morning, everyone. My name is Sadia Carone, coming at you from Las Vegas, Nevada, where it is now just after 6 a.m. on September 11th. Now, this day is very important for a lot of Americans because in 2001, terrorists struck the two World Trade Center towers in New York City. I was there on that day. I'm here to talk about the power of music, and we'll circle back to that in just a second, but I would like to take one moment, just not quite a whole minute of silence, just a moment to honor the fallen and everyone who was impacted by the terrorist attacks on September 11th. Now, one thing that helped me get through that was music. I am here to talk about the power of music, and I'm very happy to share my thoughts and insights with you. What I'd like to do is give a little bit of science, and then I'll talk about my personal experience. And at the end, I'll give tips and tricks on how you, yes, you, can start writing music. So first, the science part. Most of us know this intuitively, but I always like to back up my opinions with some facts. So here we go. The Harvard Health Publishing, they have a blog, Harvard Health Publishing. They released a study that says that when you play music or sing or dance or even listen to music, all of the parts of your brain that deal with emotion are synchronized, and that's a good thing. There's other research that indicates music, again, playing music, listening to music, dancing to music, can help people who suffer from dementia. Music is locked into our memories. And so when we hear a specific song, it can bring back those memories, good or bad. So that's the science. Now, for me, I'm a little bit unusual. There's a joke that Americans only speak English and we only care about our country. Now, let me explain why that may be. We have 50 states, 50 states. It's a 6-hour flight from Los Angeles on the West Coast to New York City on the East Coast. So that's a lot for Americans to remember. We only have two neighbors, Canada to the north and Mexico to the south. We're separated from Asia and Europe and Africa by an ocean. But I'm a little bit different. I decided when I was younger, I wanted to be the girl who breaks stereotypes. I wanted to learn about other cultures, go different places, and be someone who's just a little bit more knowledgeable about different parts of the world. It started off when I learned how to speak French. After French, I learned Spanish. After Spanish, I learned Portuguese, and I can understand a lot of Hindi, Urdu, they're very similar when spoken, some Arabic, and some Russian. Now, the greatest gift of learning a language, in my mind, is that it opens up the world. When I lived in Brazil, for example, I could speak to people who did not know one word of English because we spoke Portuguese, because I put the effort in. Now, the biggest benefit of a foreign language is you can finally understand the music. Brazil is famous for its bossa nova songs. That's a type of music that became very popular in the 1960s. And I can actually understand what they're saying now. In French, I can understand what the words mean, and in Spanish. So here is my advice. I believe that our spirit has things that it likes and things that it doesn't, whether it's chocolate ice cream, strawberry ice cream, chocolate chip, chocolate mint. And it's part of my job to listen and understand what my spirit likes so it can grow stronger and more beautiful. So again, on a basic level, do I really want to eat this for breakfast, or would I rather have that? It can be time consuming, so much easier to go on autopilot. But the same can happen with music. I listen to tons and tons and tons of music, waiting for the song that just reaches out and grabs my heart, and I just connect with, whether I can understand the song or not. So here are a couple famous musicians from around the world that I hope you'll take a listen to because they're some of my favorites. Carlos Gardel, Gardel, is from Argentina, and he is a famous tango singer. One of my favorite songs that he wrote is Por una cabeza. It means just by one head. It's about a horse race where this guy bets his entire month's salary on one horse and the horse loses. So during the course of the song, we hear him realizing, I'm going to go hungry all month because I wasted my money on a horse that lost just by one head. The other horse crossed the finish line just by a head. Now there's a band from Algeria that I also really like called Eid Flawen. The name in their language means the snowflakes. It's Ideflawen. There's so much up there. And of course, I love salsa music. You may be familiar with the song Despacito. It was very popular a few years ago, but Tito Puente and El Gran Combo. Tito Puente is one guy, and then El Gran Combo, ELGRANCOMBO. Those are two musicians. One's a band, one's a musician that you can listen to. And again, find the song that grabs you. Now let's talk about how we listen to music. When I hear a song, the first thing I latch onto is the melody and the lyrics. That's just what I hear. I can sing a song. The melody is like the tune, and then the lyrics are the words. And that's what I always hear. It's always been that way since I was a little girl. There are other people in this world who will listen to the exact same song and not hear the melody or the lyrics. They'll hear the drums. Or they'll hear the bass line, which could be doom, 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 doom. So this is my task for you. Identify what you listen to in the song. Are you a music, melody and lyrics girl like me? Are you someone that hears the bass, dum 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 dum, or the drums? And some people even hear the chords on the guitars. That could be like bum 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 bum, but they're chords, right? It's not a human voice. So once you've determined how you hear music, guess what? You've learned how you're going to write music. So when I write a song, I do the melody and the lyrics, and I have to find someone to do the drums and the guitar and the bass because I don't really know much about that. If you're someone who always hears the bass, and you're going to write bass lines, and that's amazing because we need that too. If you're a percussionist, that's the person on the drums. Then you're a drummer. Congratulations. Now, these are things that we can't really change, kind of like our height or our nationality. You know, you're born where you're born, but embrace it. I decided I wanted to grow as a musician. So 3 years ago, I bought a guitar. Am I the world's greatest guitarist? No, but I can play and it helps me write music. As I'm writing my melody and my lyrics, I'm learning how to put chords on my songs. And so I took my main talent, I developed it, and then I decided to get into a secondary talent. You know, I do hear the guitars, but it's not the main thing that I hear. Now let's talk about how to write a song. For everyone, it's going to be different, but I think I can break it down into a few simple steps. Number one, listen to lots and lots and lots of music. There's so much out there. We have so much access to music that we didn't have 30 or 40 years ago. So here's some more suggestions. And again, look for the spark. I don't care if it's popular. I don't care if all your friends hate it. If it touches you and makes you happy, and that song is a gift to you. So honor it and give it space. Something I like to listen to, jazz from the 1930s. Americans invented jazz. And so jazz from the 30s, and then the big bands from the 40s, where it's a whole orchestra and there's so much going on. You can almost feel my brain having a party, getting to listen to all the different rhythms. So just listen and listen and listen. Now, on a personal note, I take this a little too seriously, maybe. I go through phases where I will just constantly listen to the same album over and over and over and over and over. I've done this since I was a kid. When I was in high school, I would play music as I studied, but it was music that I had heard probably 500 times before. So it wasn't a distraction, it was more calming. There's a band that I love called REM. That's their name, REM. They got famous in the late 80s and in the 90s, but I was listening to them before that. Their albums Murmur and Reckoning are just beautiful pieces of music. There's another band that I love, the Gin Blossoms, Gin space Blossoms. And I listen to their songs on repeat. And then there's another band called Squeeze. They have an album, the 45s and under. So these are my favorites. If you hate them, that's okay. Go find yours and then listen to them. So when I write a song, usually the song finds me. I will be walking down the street, thinking my thoughts, or I'll be sitting, writing in my journal, and all of a sudden I'll hear, guess what? The melody and the lyrics. So I write them down, the lyrics, and often the way I hear my new song reminds me of another song. That's totally okay. It's not stealing. The song itself is so complex. I can take a piece of it, whether it's the tempo, that's the timing. Is it a really fast song? Is it a really fast song? Or is it a slow song? So it's okay to write notes and be like, oh, it kind of sounds like this song or that song. And then I write down all my lyrics. And normally the little piece that I heard at first, it's sort of like, oh my gosh, that's a song. Let me get some paper. I start writing. And as I start writing, more lyrics come. So it's almost like I get the email, I open it, I'm like, oh, it's a lot bigger than just the subject line. There's a lot more there. I write it all down. And then I hear the melody in my head. So I record it on my phone so I can come back to it and put the chords on it. So honor your spirit. I guess that's what I'm hoping people will take away from this. Listening to music is a big part of our mental health. And just invest the time to get to know yourself and find the songs that just grab you, just grab your heart, make you so happy, whether you understand the words or not. And then when you're feeling sad, a breakup, or maybe someone that you love passed away, there are songs that can help with that too. I'd like to give a shout out to another one of my favorite singer-songwriters, Jim Croce, Croce. He wrote what I believe is the best love song of all time, and it's called Time in a Bottle. He wrote so many great hits, but I heard that song as a little girl, and it stayed with me, and it inspires me. He was also an amazing guitar player. And then there's a song by Dolly Parton, Parton, called Jolene. That's another one. I remember exactly where I was when I heard it for the first time. So writing music is a skill. It does take some talent, but even if you think you have zero talent, I'm sure you have some talent. Maybe you're the bass player, the drummer, the guitarist, or the lead singer. We need everybody. So if you don't have money to buy an instrument, you can tap on the kitchen counter and make up rhythms. You can walk down the street and make up songs. Just be sure to write them down so that you can remember them and share them with the world. As I close my talk, I would like to share a song that I wrote on 9/11, or shortly after 9/11, the year the tragedy happened in New York City. I haven't shared it with many people. It's just a piece of a song, but it is important to me. For people outside the US, we often refer to New York City as the Big Apple, just a nickname for the city, the Big Apple. So I wrote a song called The Apple Takes a Hit. It's just a piece of it. The apple takes a hit, and I know, I know, 10,000 angels get their wings tonight. The apple takes a hit. And again, just to honor this day, in 2001, airplanes hit the two tall buildings in Lower Manhattan. Many Americans died. People from other countries died in the towers. And then afterwards, there was just a lot of fear and panic in the city and in the country. I will say, as time goes on, it gets easier. I can't say it gets better, but it does get easier. So music, it can help us when we're sad. It can help us when we're happy. It can help us when we're feeling alone. It can help us when we're feeling overwhelmed. I hope the song suggestions and the bands that I recommended are useful to you. If you have favorite songs and favorite singers, please let me know. It's all about learning. This is Sadia Carone in Las Vegas, Nevada, saying thank you for this opportunity. Go out, make some music, listen to the music, and